Hey everyone, today we're working on the GT4, the Celica ST185, and I have a confession to make. I've been owning this car for about 15 years now, and I've been running this car without an AC, at least without a working AC, and then I always figured that all the heat soaking that came from the engine bay went inside to the cabin inside, which made it really hot, exceptional during the summers, of course. And so I started talking with some people like 15 years later about how come there's so much hot air coming inside where I'm driving. Is it really that hot inside the engine bay so it heat soaks all the way in? And so a big shout out to this guy called Celica Main, which helped me out to figure this out. And he told me that the heater valve right here is the reason to regulate the climate control inside. And the crank handle is located on the top of this, as you can see. Somebody has put some steel wires to keep it in position, I guess. And the position of the crank was all the way here. So using my son sitting inside at the driver's seat, pulling at the knob to make it as cold as possible, I saw that the pulley didn't work at all. It just didn't move the crank at all. So the crank handle was stuck. So that's how I figured out that, it's just, pouring in hot air from the cooling system. And I slammed that with my thumb, basically, and some oil to make the crank handle move. I really haven't tried it out more because it's a really hot summer here in Sweden right now, so I'll just, slam that into position, and I don't want to move it anymore because now I actually have a decent, at least not hot air, but room temperature air inside, which is fantastic for me 15 years later, driving my car in the summers. So yeah, big shout out to Celica Main again for helping me out to figure this out, and I'll be putting in the description for a replacement part if you have the same problem as I have. And the GT4s are notorious for having AC problems. I think I've been talking to about 10 people, and most of them just don't care the AC doesn't work, and they did like what I did and removed the whole AC compressor to save weight and put a shorter belt. And as a trade-off, the shorter belt makes the throttle and the speed more responsive. And you get faster reaction times from the engine. So it's a power game for sure. But driving this notorious hot car, at least in the engine bay, you really miss the AC from time to time. But in this manner, you can even if you have a problem with the heater valve, you can just slam it into the right position as I did, and maybe use somebody inside to switch the knob just to see how really bad it is when you're doing it. And you don't need the steel wire. The steel wire is probably from the previous owner, who really didn't take care of this car as good as I did. And that's the short story of the whole heat-seeking engine bay, which is notorious for these models, that you have to vape the air as much as possible through vents, and with the Carlos Sainz hood I've been using before. So that's it. Thanks again, and hopefully I'm gonna have another video on how maybe to change this part and see if it works better. Okay, see ya.